Our film begins with Eddie as he attempts to commit suicide from the balcony, and there are people trying to break into his apartment to kill him, while he begins to tell the story of what led him to the situation he's in now. This is Eddie, a former alcoholic, a divorced man, and a failed writer. He has no idea about writing, and often sits for weeks, maybe even months, without being able to write a single word in his new book. The only person in his life is Lindy, his girlfriend, who was his lover, tries to help him as much as she can. He meets Verano, his ex-wife, who confronts him about his situation and checks on his well-being and life. He learns that his life is in ruins, and she tells him that she is working as a consultant in a company, and she tells him that she will give him a pill, which is an exclusive product from her company, approved by the Food and Drug Administration. A normal person uses only 20% of their brain, but this pill is designed to activate 100% of the human brain. The price for one pill is $100, and he wonders if he should take it from Verano. Out of curiosity, right at his door, Eddie decides to take the pill. He meets the landlord, who asks him for the rent, and the effects of the pill start to kick in. His mind expands significantly, and he begins to notice all the details around it. He starts talking to the landlord and learns that she is in law school on the side. In her bag, he sees something he hasn't seen in 18 years, since he was in college, and he wonders how he remembers such a simple thing. He starts talking to the landlord about law school and the biggest authors of legal books. In a moment of astonishment and admiration from the landlord towards Eddie, he suggests and helps her, and within 5:40, he has written a complete article for her, which she is very impressed. He leaves her and goes back to his apartment, wondering how he is living in a place like this. He starts cleaning, organizing, and washing things. His mind is very clear, and he is able to focus on multiple tasks at the same time. He tries to continue writing his book, in which he hasn't written a single word. After a while, he wakes up the next day and finds himself back to his old self. He can't do anything as usual, so he takes what he has written and goes to submit it to the editor-in-chief at the publishing house, who had lost hope that he would write anything. He presents it to her. She read 2 or 3 pages, but she said she didn't like it. They would refund the advance I took. As soon as he gets home, he finds a message from the editor-in-chief saying that she has read more than 40 pages and is still reading, and that the book is very impressive. Eddie decides to rush to Verano to get another pill. He finds Verano beaten, bruised, and messed up, and learns from him that the pills were actually made in a laboratory, and it's a whole thing. All the legal stuff is a lie, but what? He still asks, saying he needs it to continue his book. Verano agrees to give him the pill in exchange for him going out to get his breakfast suit, since he can't go himself. Eddie goes out to get the items, and returns to find his door open. When he enters, he sees the apartment turned upside down. And what is this? A murder has taken place, and he reports the crime. He decides to look for the pills before the police arrive, because Eddie knows Verano well, and knows he can't cook. So he thinks about searching for the pills in the oven, and he succeeds. He finds the pills and some money, along with a notebook of numbers from the clients who buy from Verano's business, and he takes it with him just as the police arrive. He takes the number with him. He is released, and Eddie starts a new persona, taking care of himself and getting new clothes. He begins to ration the pills, taking only 1 a day. With the help of the pills, he finishes an entire book in 4 days. However, he decides he wants to earn more money than what he makes from his writing, as the book sales aren't significant. So he turns to the stock market. Within 4 days, he multiplies his money 5 times. But he needs more money to earn even more. Since the bank won't lend him money without collateral, he seeks other options. He turns to Gina, who lends money at a high interest rate. He borrows $100,000 from her and uses it in the stock market, which he has learned about. Kevin's father, who works in the stock market, turned and took a temporary job at a trading company. Within a week, his trading account surpassed $2 million, and he quickly became famous in the stock market. Job offers and TV interviews started pouring in, and all the news began to talk about it. He believes he can win back his girlfriend, Lindy, until something happens. He was waiting to meet the top stock market figure, the genius Carl, but he notices that someone has been watching him most of the time. Eddie meets Mr. Carlo, who starts explaining his way of thinking and working, mentioning his unique algorithm that led to his success in the stock market. They arrive at Eddie's house. On the way, Carl hands him a file containing information about 2 of the largest energy companies and asks him to review them and share his thoughts as soon as he gets home. Eddie finishes analyzing the file and tells Carl that it's impossible to dominate the energy market without controlling these 2 companies, or at least the larger one, which would cause him to lose the other company. Carl is impressed with Eddie's analytical approach, and they agree to meet again to continue their discussion. Eddie then goes for a walk, suddenly realizes that he has passed a significant mental block and has walked by more than 20 buildings without noticing. He continues walking, and his mind starts to break through more and more mental barriers. I couldn't hold my thoughts back any longer, and I cursed it. He doesn't remember the last 10 hours of his life at all, and all he recalls is spending the night with a woman he met at a hotel. For the first time, He tries to cope without the effects of the pill due to the side effects he recently experienced. He attempts to review the files of the energy companies but fails and goes to meet Carl without the pill, completely unfocused and unprepared about the companies. He hears news about the murder of a model at a hotel and sees her picture, realizing that she is the one he spent the night. However, he can't remember what happened afterward and is unable to continue the meeting with Carl, so he runs out. He finds a message from Melissa, his ex-wife, warning him not to take anything before his murder and urgently requesting that they meet. After ending the call, he tries to reach out to any of Verano's clients that he had recorded in his note. However, he discovers that either all the names listed have died or are in intensive care, except for the last name he contacts. He notices his phone ringing beside him and answers, only to find it's the person watching him who tries to kill him. He manages to escape and reaches a restaurant to meet Melissa, where he finds her condition has deteriorated significantly due to the pills. He knows that if he tries to quit them, his condition will worsen and his focus will disappear, so he realizes he needs to cut back. Gradually, he realizes he could end up dead like the ones before him, and as she bids him farewell, he is still processing everything. However, before he reaches his home, a soldier approaches him and hits him for the delay in his payment, as agreed. The pill falls from Eddie's hand, and the soldier takes his money, and leaves him. Eddie's condition starts to deteriorate, and he turns to Lindy. He goes to her workplace and asks her to get him his pills, which he has hidden at her place. She has to leave him in her office while she goes to retrieve the pills and brings them back to him. However, she notices that she is being watched by someone, and he attacks her. She manages to escape and calls Eddie to tell him what happened. He tells her to take a pill. She takes the pill with her so she can escape from him, listens to his advice, and manages to flee. She arrives with the pills to Eddie, and he returns to his normal state once again. He finds that Gina has returned, asking for more pills because their effects are amazing. He gives her some to get rid of her for the time being. He goes back to Carl to persuade him to work with him again. After 2 months of using the pills, Eddie becomes the head of the largest management firm in history. He tries to balance his life while reducing his pill intake, quitting alcohol, and focusing on his health. To ensure he doesn't run out of the pills, he makes an agreement with a lab to try to produce his own, with the same ingredients, aiming to produce pills that have the same effect. A police inspector comes to question him about the murder of the model. He learns that someone identified as the last person who was with her in the hotel. However, he quickly gets cleared from suspicion due to the lack of fingerprints in her room. When he returns to his apartment, he finds it turned upside down, which forces him to rent a new place equipped with a safe, cameras, a reinforced door, and a high-security system. The time comes for a board meeting with one of the energy companies that Carl wants to acquire, and he is waiting for the owner, Mr. Attad, to sign the merger between the two companies, or more act to relinquish control of the company to Carl. With Mr. Attad's wife, who came to inform them that her husband is in the hospital and suffering from severe exhaustion. She mentions that he intends to sign the contract as soon as he recovers. They accompany her to her car, and Eddie is surprised by the driver. Attad is the person who has been chasing and trying to kill both him and his girlfriend Lindy. Eddie realizes that Mr. Attad is in the hospital due to not getting his pills, which he also used to obtain from Veron. He receives a summons to appear in a lineup in front of the witness who saw him with the model. He is accompanied by Morris, the top lawyer in the state. After the lineup, he is released due to the witness not recognizing him. Eddie learns that Attad has fallen into a coma, which has put the deal with Carl on hold until Attad recovers. However, he soon realizes that the pills he had stashed in his jacket are missing. Upon returning to his apartment, he discovers via phone that Morris is Attad's lawyer, raising his suspicion that Morris may have stolen the pills. Just then, there's a knock at the door, and he finds the soldier there to confront him for missing the appointment to return the pills. The soldier is intent on killing him, which leads Eddie to contemplate suicide. In a last-minute decision, he chooses to search for any remaining pill that could save him from Gina. When that search proves fruitless, he resorts to attacking the soldier, killing him, and drinking his blood in a desperate attempt to experience the effects of the pill. He succeeds in regaining his energy and manages to get rid of Gina's man. He realizes that his pills were stolen from him by Morris, Attad's lawyer. He wonders how that could have happened unless the lawyer was greedy for the pills and took them for himself. The lawyer ends up dead, and the pills are returned to Eddie. 6 months later, he runs for election in New York, and his book is published, becoming a bestseller. He is visited by the owner of Even Pharmaceuticals, one of the largest donors to his election campaign, and to his surprise, it's Carl. However, Carl begins to threaten him, revealing that he knows the effects of the pill. Eddie has reached the position he is in now, and he has left the effects of the pills behind. He purchased a complete pharmaceutical company as soon as he learned about these pills and can stop their production at any moment if Eddie doesn't do what he wants. However, Eddie calmly tells him that he is not naive enough to reach a position and remain at the mercy of the pills. He has completely freed himself and is the one who should be feared, as he is several steps smarter. He knows information about Carl that could imprison him, and the only thing Carl could control him with was the pills